The night Manila breathed like a living sea, humid and electric, and Miguel stood at the edge of Quiapo Church with his last coin trembling in his palm. Vendors sang their prices, incense curled like ghostly ribbons, and the city's lights seemed to blink a code meant only for the desperate. He had sent resumes and prayers into the world, and both had vanished into silence. On his phone, an overdue rent notice glowed. He shut his eyes and whispered to the darkness that he would take any sign, any small opening where light could spill through. An old woman in a faded barrow rose from her stool by the candle vendors and beckoned him close. Her fingers were tiny, the joints polished smooth by time. She asked his name, touched the pulse at his wrist, then let her hand drift to a tiny pouch that hung against her chest like a secret. "Not all doors open to knocking," she said. "Some open to kindness, some to courage, and some to Suwerte that arrives like rain when you have a bucket ready." From the pouch, she drew a small medallion no larger than a 1 peso coin. It wasn't gleaming. It was quiet, like something that prefers to be found by the right person. In the center was a swirl, and inside the swirl, a grain of rice sealed in resin, flanked by 2 shapes that looked like wings. She told him its origin as if reciting a story by the fires that used to brighten nights before electricity. A rice farmer in Nueva Ecija had lost everything to a ruined harvest. He helped a stranger on the road with nothing but a sip of water and half a boiled egg. The stranger left this medallion on the farmer's doorstep. The next season brought rains at the right hour and sun at the right length, and the farmer's field ripened like a choir. Word traveled farther than roads, picked up by mouths that loved to tell good news. The amulet passed from hand to hand, always through gratitude. "That is how an amulet acquires its true source," she said, "by drinking from the stream of deeds freely given." Miguel turned the medallion in his fingers and asked what it meant. The old woman smiled at the swirl. "It symbolizes the tide," she said, "the rise and fall that no one controls. The grain of rice is the one blessing that keeps returning, humble and faithful. The wings are chances that arrive when you are awake. The meaning is simple. Luck exists, but it belongs to those whose hands are open to receive and open to give." He felt something in his chest loosen, like a cramped muscle remembering how to breathe. She spoke of power and purpose without the flashy charms of billboards. "The amulet does not change the lottery," she told him. "It changes the person who wears it. It sharpens the eyes to see what others ignore, the ear to hear the soft offer beneath a noisy rejection. It attracts timely encounters, guides your steps around potholes, makes your name remembered when lists are long." When he asked how to awaken it, she taught him a small ritual that sounded like a secret passed between siblings. At dawn on a Friday, wash the amulet in running water, even if only from a faucet, letting the stream whisper away fear. Pat it dry with a clean cloth and wrap it in a bit of red fabric for warmth and courage. Light a plain white candle and say a short oration with a steady voice. She gave him the words, simple and calm. "God of light, open the door that belongs to me and close the doors that are not. Guard my heart from envy and haste. Guide my hands toward useful work and my feet toward people who need what I can do. Amen." Then wear it close to the skin for 9 days, near the heart. Miguel asked if there were inscriptions hidden in the lines. She leaned closer and traced the swirl. "The oraciones live not in letters," she said, "but in the way you speak to ordinary hours." Still, if he wished, he could whisper a second prayer when he felt lost. "Ama at aina ng bayaya, ilawan at landis ko." If he preferred, he could say it in Spanish or in silence. The amulet heard intention more clearly than syllables. She told him to keep it in a small pouch or on a cord, never letting it fall among coins in a pocket where clatter might bruise its calm. When not worn, it should rest in a clean cup with uncooked rice, a promise of sustenance. Do not sleep with it if your dreams are filled with noise. Let it rest where the moonlight can reach. Never lend it to someone who covets more than they need. Never bring it to places where others despair and gamble their lives away. Never use it as a boast. It prefers to work in rooms with ordinary windows and floors swept clean. If he ever chose to pass it on, she said, it should be given before sunset on a Sunday. When the day is soft and endings feel like blessings, it should never be sold. It should be inherited through a story, so that the new keeper receives the memory of how it helped and to whom he offered help in return. Miguel thought of his mother and the quieter stories she used to tell between worries, the ones that tasted like coconut meat and warm bread. She said there were many faces of this charm across the islands. In the Tagalog lowlands, some carry a tiny bag with a coin and rice. In the Visayas, a sliver of old mother of pearl rides in a thread bracelet. In the Ilocano north, a polished seed from the mountain finds its way into a pocket near the heart. In Bicol, a sliver of pili shell etched with a spiral serves the same call. Every variation sings the same refrain. Luck is not a lightning strike. It is rain meeting a bucket, breeze meeting a sail, a door that opens because the person on the other side also needed you. Miguel asked if faith alone made it work. The old woman's laugh sounded like a spoon tapping a cup. Faith opens the window, she answered. Belief keeps it from slamming shut. But you must still sweep the floor. Balance faith with honest effort. Light comes through glass you have cleaned yourself. The amulet is not a magic trick. It is a reminder that someone on this street will need your help before midnight, and you will see them and you will not look away. That, too, is a lever for fortune. He wore the amulet under his shirt as dawn thinned the darkness. That day, he stopped by a small carinderia where a delivery man had slipped in the rain. Miguel rushed to lift the crate and keep the bowls from shattering. The owner, a woman with eyes quick and kind, insisted he sit for breakfast. She asked his name and what he did. He told her about the line of job applications that had gone nowhere and the feeling of being erased. She pointed to a sign taped near the counter. We are hiring for a new branch. Can you start tomorrow? He began as a cashier, learned the flows of lunch storms and quiet afternoons, and within months, he was handling suppliers and schedules with a calm that surprised him. He kept the amulet clean and thanked it not as an idol, but as a friend who reminded him of the door he already carried in his chest. He did not win raffles. He did not wake to a suitcase of bills. Instead, he found that traffic lights turned green when he stopped worrying and started paying attention. Instead, he noticed the landlord who had a nephew who ran a printing shop and needed a reliable manager, and how that led to a partnership where his ideas were not filed away but tried. He caught small breaks as if they had been falling all along, and he at last held up a bucket. He returned to Quiapo months later, not to seek but to say thank you. The stall stood as always, but the old woman was gone. In her place was a younger vendor who remembered a Lola who talked to strangers like grandchildren and never charged for her advice. Miguel lit a candle and left a bag of rice at the feet of a saint, then stepped back into the city that had not changed but seemed to meet him differently. He pressed the amulet to his heart and promised to pass it along when it asked to move on. That evening, he saw a tricycle driver counting coins that would not stretch far enough. Miguel looked at the driver's tired eyes and felt the medallion warm in his palm, and he wondered if stories make their own roots like rivers. Here's a short tale people in a fishing town still tell when the tide is stubborn. A girl named Lena tied a shell bead with a speck of rice inside to her wrist because her father said invited good winds. She woke before sunrise for many days, cleared nets, cleaned boats, and always greeted the sea with a kind word. One morning, the wind stalled and the village frowned at the flat water. Lena walked to the shore with her bucket and her small charm and began to sing a tune she had learned from her grandmother. The wind came back shy and then sure, and by dusk every family had fish enough for their pot. When asked if the amulet did it, she only smiled. The sea listens to those who listen first, she answered, and her little bead flashed once like a secret. If this story stirred something in you, tap like and share it with someone who could use a sign today. Comment Suwerte if you believe small kindness invites big blessings, and follow for more Philippine amulet stories and mysteries. May the door that belongs to you open gently, and may your hands be ready when it does.